Hello everyone and welcome back to my Kerbal Space Program series. In the last episode, we got into orbit with our lunar lander, which will not reach Mun just yet. However, we have started sending science data back, and as you can see, I have completed 14 missions. And, due to me upgrading the administrative building, I am no longer receiving any reputation, but I'm getting a 40% boost to my reward for completing this for money, and I am getting a whopping 60% boost, basically, to my science. So by doing this, I've been getting 60 science per mission. Now, in the long scheme, that's actually not a lot of science. You could get more science by exploring the moon and its various biomes. However, because I am having trouble getting there, we're just going to go ahead and delete all of these contracts. And we are going to get Jebediah back to ground after he completes one more mission, because I forgot I took one. For great science! Before we get Jebediah back on the ground, though, we need to angle the ship a little bit. Stop its roll. Stability assist, please. There we are. Gonna quickly quick save it. And that's not even remotely worth it. All this is going to be jettisoned, so I don't really care. But I do need to get my experiment from that module over there. Can't quite reach it, so I hit R to activate the EVA's propellant. I hit S to move backwards, W to move forwards, A and D to move side to side, Q and E to roll, left shift up, and left control down. And very carefully move my way to the ship. And get close enough. And back off a little bit. And we collect this data. It's another 25 science or so. And now we get back to the cockpit, hopefully. Give me the prompt. Give me the prompt. There we are. And now we board. And the next thing we need to do, I flattened out my orbit a little bit, is to descend. Now, it's hard to see from this side, but on this side, I want to try to land in a highland or something similar. I don't quite have the fuel needed to achieve polar orbit. Actually, I do have the fuel needed to achieve polar orbit, but I doubt I can. But we are going to try our damnedest anyway. We can't hold along this, so I have to rely on stability assist. And let's try it. That's not doing it. This is where I need to burn. Right here. And that's tilting my orbit. You know what? I don't think I'm going to achieve polar orbit, so I'm just going to burn retrograde and kill all my velocity until I'm back on the ground. Which you've seen quite a few times already, so you don't really need to see this, but it's going to burn retrograde for a while, kill all my velocity. And that'll put me down in the ocean. That's not good. Let's go ahead and burn radially again, or I think this is radially, I'm not sure. And oh, I forgot. I need stability assist, because otherwise it's going to keep pulling me back toward retrograde. And let's go ahead and do some burning. Oh, I forgot I had Skype on. I should probably change that. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I'm going up. I want to go the other way. It's a good thing these aren't critical maneuvers. It's just a choice of picking my landing site. I'm going to try to get along here, if I can. I should have more than enough fuel to do it. This is boring, I know. And besides, the atmosphere will yank on me, so I won't quite reach this, more than likely. Alright, now what I want to do is burn prograde a little bit. Go ahead and set Skype to busy. I don't know if you can see this. I hope you don't. There we are. And go ahead and just burn a little bit, and then head back to the exact way I was burning before, which I believe was this. Nope, that's the wrong way. Good thing I figured that out quickly. I am very good at things, apparently. There we go. And that should put me down in this desert, maybe. I'm really hoping it puts me down on a mountain. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and answer that Skype message, and I will see you back on the ground, where Jebediah will return triumphant from a long orbit where he sent us tons of science. And we are back where Jebediah is just meters from touching down after performing lots of successful science. He is a Kerbin hero, indeed. I believe, yep, this is not a new biome, so we cannot do all the things that we are usually able to do. What happened to my voice? Apparently I can't do soil samples here. I thought I upgraded R&D, honestly. Did I, or did I not? I think I was saving the money that I had gotten, so that way. Yeah, that's the reason. Okay. Can't do soil samples because I was saving my money. And this vehicle comes back with only 5 science. I thought it was a bit more than that, honestly. Anyway, you can see the amount of money we have. Let's go ahead and dismiss this. And the amount of science we have quite a lot of both. So, I actually did this on purpose. I got enough science off screen to get every single one of these techs. We also can get advanced electrics now, which gives us the deployable solar panels, which is pretty cool, and radiators, which is actually pretty damn useful for, that's part of Interstellar. Get advanced exploration to get the barometer, which is also very cool. Not very cool, but it gets you more science. You get some RCS over here, small fuel tanks, all that fun stuff, but we want heavy rocketry. We want fuel systems. This, I guess we should probably get the general construction. I'm going to skip aerodynamics for now. I'm going to get advanced flight control because it gives you the Probodyne, which is much better. I'm going to get space exploration. And because I'm not getting aerodynamics, I can afford to skip landing for now and get either advanced exploration to get more science, or advanced electrics to get the better solar panels. And I'm thinking the advanced solar panels because then I'll never have to worry about my probes running out. So, we're going to get that. And, yeah, let's go ahead and see how that reshapes the tech tree. There it all is. I can't get ion propulsion. Oh, that stinks. But I can get large electrics once I get 300 science. That gives us a massive battery pack. More rechargeable batteries, capacitors, the gigantor solar array, heat radiators, electrical generators. I don't know what these really need. A really tiny Brayton cycle engine that turns thermal power into electrical power. Okay. And then we also have very large heat radiators, which again, very important. And then electronics, which gives us deuterium, tritium, cryosat, keeping these things at cryogenic temperatures. That's useful for when you eventually start getting them, as well as helium cryosats. An RI telescope, primarily an infrared telescope capable of operating down into the orange color range of visible spectra and may perform deep field observations to study the early universe, imaging of planets within the Kerbin system, etc. Most interesting, if deployed in stable orbit at 550 AU, it can be used using Kerbal as a gravitational lens to directly image nearby Kerbal planets. Who knows? Perhaps there are more Kerbin-like worlds in the universe. Interesting. A dual technique magnetometer. It gives you the ability to test magnetic fields. That's very important for when you're trying to get antimatter. And a gamma ray spectrometer that is able to detect radioactive elements by their reactions to the solar wind. So, those are all very useful. I wish I could actually purchase it, but I can't. And we also can get heavier rocketry to get the Skipper engine, which is very useful. and the Maverick W, which is the most powerful engine we will be able to get this early in the game. Also get some pretty massive fuel tanks. And the Globe Thor. The Globe Thor is the highest thrust, except for the LFB right here. That's actually a liquid fuel engine, actually. It's a thrustable. This one, however, is solid fuel. So it's the best booster you can get as of right now. You can also get specialized construction to get modular girder adapters, and those are actually quite useful. You can also get docking ports, also very useful. Actuators, grabbing units, don't need them. Supersonic flight, don't need them. Specialized control gets you Mark 1 lander can, Mark 2 command pod, both very useful. Advanced reaction wheels, RCS pod, RCS fuel, miniature thrusters, monopropellant tanks, and an extra large parachute. Which again, very useful. Precision engineering, also very useful, as I showed you before, and advanced exploration. But I don't have enough for these techs, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get landing. Now, the reason for that is, landing's not really that useful to me now, but once I get aerodynamics, it will allow me to be able to land jet engines, and plus, advanced landing gives you powerful landing struts, which is something I definitely need, and you also need to get this to get into rovers, so that's very important. Okay, enough with the exploratizing. We still have money to spend. We can't upgrade that, unfortunately. We can't upgrade that. We can, however, upgrade some of these. One thing I'm going to do is upgrade the launch pad, so that way I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I'm gonna upgrade the administrative... You have that building. And these are the new campaigns I have. All my reputation gains are being taken, basically, and I'm getting 7.8 funds for every unit of reputation, and I'm getting 1 science for every 1.48. Now, the science one is far more valuable, I think, than the money one. But the money one is pretty useful, and I'm not using reputation for anything right now, so... Let's go ahead and... I've already got the mission to explore the Mun, so what we're going to do is we're also going to get an experiment for science data around Kerbin for while we get there. You can test this landed at Kerbin. It's a very easy mission. Same thing with this one, very easy mission, but I'm not going to do either. I could use this orbiting Kerbin, but I'm probably going to use that for my landing stage. Okay. So, first thing we're going to do is, you know how we were sending a Kerbin into orbit to get all that science data for us? We're going to switch that to a probe. Now, I'm going to show you me designing my octoprobe, because it's actually pretty easy to design a good probe. So, what we want, first of all, is we're going to want batteries for this guy. So, what we're going to do is we're going to put a battery, 4 batteries on here. 2 on top, 2 on the bottom. There we go. Now, it's important that you keep... Whoa, what the hell? Why did it zoom in that far? Okay. It's very important that you keep this part of your probe, like, visible, so that way you can easily move it around. Now, where are they? Okay. What else do I need? I need some science, so what I need is a communitron. I'm going to put 2 on there for symmetry's sake. And for this thing to do science in orbit, I need it to have a thermometer. So that way it's not carrying mystery goo up there. Very easy. And now I'm going to set it to an action group. I'm going to set it to abort. So that way, right here, log temperature. That way when I hit the abort key or backspace, it will log the temperature for me. Okay. So this right here, that's the base of our probe. Now what it needs is ability to power itself. I don't want a flat radiator, but what we want is this. This is a 2x3 photoelectric solar panel. We only want 1 of them. Put it right on top here. Can't show it now, but when it gets extended, it will be able to track the sun, and having the wide one on top really helps. And let's see. Now we're going to set 2 of these on either side. And that should generate all the power this thing is going to need. So these are 1x6 panels, so it's 1 tall by 6 wide. This is 2x3, it's 2 tall and 3 wide. Same amount of solar panels, just different directions. Now, this thing might need some radiators, because it might wind up overheating. Now the inline radiators, those are not for these. Radial radiators are what we want. Small radial compact design makes it excellent for convecting heat away in atmosphere, but less effective in the vacuum of space. That's unfortunate. Let's see, I'm trying to find a better radiator, but I don't think there are any. Anyway, waste heat shouldn't be too much of an issue, so we're just going to do this. Which one? Waste heat. Base. Alright, this one looks to be better. Oh god, these things are big. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the thermometer out and put the radiators on the side. I think they need to be smaller radiators. Yeah, that should be good. They'll move heat away, and then the solar panels will generate it, basically. Alright, and since I have a little bit of room left on my probe, I'm going to put another set of solar panels on there. Right there. What time is it? Alright. Alright, the radiators will push the heat away. Now I just need science. Let's go ahead and, first of all, rotate them. There we go. Putting the thermometers there is fine. So, go ahead and set the thermometers to abort. And I want to set the solar panels to the brake key, since this thing has no need of brakes. We're going to make it so they toggle. So that way if I hit brake, they will either retract or extend. And for light, I am going to set it to the radiator, so it toggles the radiator. There we go. So if I hit lights, the radiator will toggle. If I hit brake, the solar panels will toggle. And if I hit abort, the thermometers will fire. And that right there is your basic probe. We're actually going to name that. Basic Sat Probe. There we go. Alright, now, what we need is something to launch this into orbit. You don't really need to see this. As a matter of fact, there's actually something I did forget here. I need this to be able to turn. So we're going to add a small inline reaction wheel here. It makes it a little bit unbalanced. And I don't believe I have access to RCS tanks yet. I have access to RCS thrusters, but I don't have access to tanks. No, I do. They're just big. I don't have the small RCS tanks yet, apparently. Which is rather unfortunate, honestly. Once I get the miniature RCS tanks, that'll be helpful, but... in order to balance this, I'm going to add another battery, just so it's symmetrical. You always want things to be symmetrical, just because they look nice. Plus, this provides a little extra power. There we go. That is now your basic sat probe. Alright, so now all I'm going to do here is throw a small decoupler on here. Where is the small one? Did I not get access to the small one yet? Apparently not. I don't have access to the small one. That's actually kind of weird. I thought I had access to the small decoupler. Do I at least... I don't have any sort of adapters for it either. Oh, that's unfortunate. I guess I'll just have to put a bigger decoupler on it. Okay, so now we're going to build something to bring this into orbit, and I will show you guys that when it's done to save some time. Alright, so I've finally completed my monstrosity here. Basically, I'm using the 3 highest thrust sulfur boosters I have, the new Rockomax Poodle engine with a large fuel tank, and then a fairing here, which is hiding the probe, which is using a medium-sized fuel tank and an LV-909 engine. Basically, this thing should be able to go into orbit and probably go to the moon, but its main purpose is to get into orbit around Kerbin, so I completely over-designed it. So, we are going to launch. This thing has MetJeb installed as well, like pretty much everything else I have. Just so I can see the orbit readout from here. It's got no launch stability. Oh, yeah, this thing also got upgraded with the... it was one of my techs, I don't know. I'm just going to select orbit info. I don't need any of the autopilot features they have. Alright, so I'm going to keep my Poodle engine on about 30% thrust. It's only there to help steer, really. I'm going to turn on my RCS that I have now. It's hidden away in there, but it will help control the craft. And turning on SAS. And there we go. This thing needs to lift quite a bit, so I'm not surprised that it didn't get off to a fast start. Alright, and when I hit space, I mean, I could increase it a little bit by thrusting my poodle engine a little bit more, but I want to save some of that fuel. Besides, the poodle engine has to lift a pretty big fuel tank, a decent chunk of fuel, and the probe. Lifting the probe is not the problem, it's the fuel that's going to be a problem. I don't know if the poodle engine will be able to take it. This probe is not designed to come back, so this thing has got to earn quite a bit of money in orbit before I let it crash. Alright, we are at 200 meters per second. I'm going to start throttling up the poodle engine, try to get up to about 3,000 meters per second before this fuel burns out. And we are getting pretty close to this fuel going. Oh, what the? Why did my thrust die? Why did the thrust die on this? Well, the fairings worked. And then that decoupler works. And then that decoupler works. And then that engine works, but that was a disaster. I don't know how that happened. Alright, well, let's just turn on our side here. Try to get this thing into orbit. I just think this thing doesn't have enough fuel to make it. I'm not sure how my engine died there. It's kind of weird, honestly. I should probably be working on getting this thing as high as possible with the fuel I have. Try to get this thing into orbit. And since we're currently accelerating, I can't extend the solar panels. And I don't think I'll get high enough to be able to use RCS to thrust my way. But I'm getting pretty close to a stable apoapsis, however the frick you pronounce it. 1, 2, 5. There we go. Okay. We're not going to get to apoapsis for another minute or so. Yeah, the odds of me getting stable orbit right now are not good, because I have to burn quite a lot to be able to get orbit. As you can see right there, it's going to take me a lot to get into orbit. I could probably fix that by burning a little bit anti-normal. What's that? 6,000. That would make my periaps too small. I need that to be at least 7. There we are. Okay, I'm not going to be able to make it, but... especially since I have to burn for another minute on this engine. There's no way I'm getting this. Yep, there goes that. And this thing's dead, so we're just going to go ahead and hit abort to do this. Send that back. Recycle that. And that did that mission, so let's go ahead and hit the brakes. Oh, God! Well! I did not think this thing would come back to smash into my ass. That's new. That is very new. Well, this is quaint, is it not? This is quite quaint. Yeah, it's time to re-enter the atmosphere and watch this thing die. So, let's go ahead and speed this up. Get off me. I said get off me! Get off me! Ah! Spin! Whoa! So yeah, that did not remotely work, because for some reason my main engine died. I have no idea why it died. I'll check the log once this thing crashes into the ground. Quickly send that data before it's too late. Goodbye, cruel world. I smell flowers. Oh, I didn't close that panel in time, but it doesn't matter because this thing's gonna die. We're going to crash into the ground at like 100 meters per second in time acceleration. I don't even need time acceleration. I'm gonna be hitting the water at about 100 meters per second. Oh god, that was a disastrous probe launch. Bye-bye! You will be remembered by no one because you were unmanned. Bye-bye! Oh! Part of it actually survived! That's pretty funny. Alright. Let's see what happened. Structural failure on the linkage between the large fin and the rocket. Structural failure between the linkage between the engine and the... Oh, there's a structural failure on between the engine and the fuel tank. And between the fuel tank and the adapter. That's kind of weird. So many structural failures. That is really weird. I did not expect a structural failure of all things. You know what, let me just try that launch again and see if it was a fluke. And if it was a fluke, well, great. If it wasn't a fluke, well, I gotta redesign this entire goddamn thing. Alright, let's go ahead and do this. And this time I will keep the Poodle engine at that level of thrust. I will not touch it. I'm not sure why that all this stuff had a structural fail, but... Anyway, until these separate, I will not increase the throttle on my Poodle engine. And that should fix it. I probably should have gotten another contract for the space around Kerbin. I keep calling it Kerman. That's the name of these guys. Oh, let's go ahead and quickly abort to get some... you know what? I will be able to actually keep that science when I launch with an actual Kerbal. Alright, we are almost at 3,300 meters per second, so we want to wait until our apoapsis is at least 45 seconds away before we start going sideways. Okay, turn it up a little bit. Oh, the engine died again! What the hell? The engine died again. It's relatively annoying. Yeah, that is extremely irritating. Again, I highly doubt I'll be able to do anything. My odds of getting into orbit with this thing are null, at best. Simply because I won't be able to burn enough at the apoapsis to obtain orbit. Even if my apoapsis is the lowest possible orbit it could be. So I think I just need to redesign this using fuel lines and standard parts as opposed to trying to mix KW rocketry and Rockamax. I think that was my issue. I was mixing a Rockamax fuel tank with a KW fuel tank with a Rockamax adapter and KW rockets, so... And a Rockamax engine, so... That could be a very big reason. But yeah, again, it doesn't look like I'm obtaining orbit. Simply because if I make the maneuver, one side is going to be just way too short. See? Because that's like 290, but that's only like that. There we are. Go ahead and lower this a bit. What's this? No. That would be stable, but I'd have to burn for a full minute to make it work. And I doubt this engine has it in it. Let's just go ahead and time accelerate. Oh. Alright. Yep, didn't have it in it. Didn't even remotely achieve orbit this time. Alright, well, let's go back to the Space Center, get a quick science around Kerbal mission, take control of that, get some money out of this deal, and then get out. Let's just get rid of this contract. Come on, science around Kerbin. Get rid of the temperature scans. I don't want the temperature... There it is. Science around Kerbin. This is annoying. Grab this probe. And I will be doing some test launches off-screen, so that way I could figure out what the problem was. Let's go ahead and extend those solar panels so I don't run out of energy, and send that data. And mission done. Let's go ahead and get rid of the orbit info, it's blocking everything. Huh, I didn't know this thing wasn't in the action group. Oh well. Yeah, well, one thing I can be certain about is that I have no waste heat issues. Alright, well, let me just turn off RCS. Because the only thing I could try to do with RCS is to thrust. And it's not going to work, so... I'm already in the atmosphere anyway, so... Let's go ahead and do all this stuff, get it all away. Because... it would be far better if I collapse with this thing completely full of everything. Pew! Bye! You will be missed, good sir. Re-enter to your heart's content. I will see you guys in the next episode, where I will endeavor not to have these things crash and burn on me. Take care, guys.